Yeah, there's two options.
Set to input 1 and input 2.
Okay, so channel 2 is on mic, and we've got...
No, sorry. Input to channel 2.
Yep.
Which is, and then it says internal line, and then input 2.
Yep.
Set that to input 2.
Yep.
Where's my cameraman? I'm ready to go when you are, boss. Thumbs up whenever. Well, everybody, Melbourne is known for having bad weather, and it is living up to its name right here, right now. Welcome, everybody, to what is a very wet and damp Geneseo Stadium as we welcome you to the opening game of Round 6 of the NPL Women's season between the Preston Lions and the Bentley Greens. Both sides coming off a pretty average performance last round. Preston suffered a 2-0 loss to the Boroondara Carry Eagles at the Veneto Club in what was a performance that they'll want to forget, having taken 23 shots in that game, not managing to get one to fall in the back of the net. The squad will want to come out guns blazing early on in this encounter tonight to get back on the winners list. And boy, will they want to do it here, as it's their first home game of the season. And it'll be in front of their home fans. 4 wins to just Bentley's 1. Bentley's only win came back in May of 2023, where they had a 1-0 victory over the Lions. Looking at the lineups ahead of tonight's clash, both sides having made 3 changes for tonight's clash. Preston have benched Molly May Ramsey, Elania Vatke and Sophie Den. They welcome in Maggie Byrne, who will be in goal, Ellie Lamont White and Summer Caponecchia into the squad this week. Bentley have benched their players in Amanda Stevenson, Karina Tollis and Daniela Di Petta. They welcome in Isabella Fernandez, who scored 1 goal for the Greens already this season, Emilia Keppens and Belinda Stoysevsky into their squad this week. As we have kickoff underway here at Jenna Steele Stadium. Looking at the official lineups, though, for tonight's clash, we have number 1, Maggie Byrne, number 6, Ellie Talevsky, number 15, Emma Checker, number 17, Ellie Lamont White, number 20, Summer Caponecchia, number 22, Eva Harrington, number 28, Eliza Amendolia, number 35, Mizo Yamada, number 42, Eri Narita, number 44, Valentine Percy, and the captain, number 50, Georgia Henderson. And for the Bentley Greens, it is number 1 in goal will be Taylor Murphy, number 2, Ellie Torrey, number 3, Isabel Fernandez, number 4, the captain, Sydney Allen, number 5, Ashley Lefebvre, number 8, Caitlin Storey, number 9, Amelia Keppens, number 11, Delaney Keeney, number 12, Regan Bridges, number 13, Belinda Stoysevsky, and number 14, Anna Leakopoulos. Those are the lineups in tonight's clash. Both sides will want to get a win here. Preston wearing their iconic red outfit in this one, as already we might have an opportunity for Preston. Not quite. Ball will be booted away, however, and it will be out of play. Glad you could be with us here on Anzac Day, lest we forget for all the soldiers who fought back in the day fighting for our freedom of this great country. So hopefully everyone is having a good day thus far, even though it has been very, very rainy. And already a little bit of a tussle going on there between Narita and Keeney. Fernandez back off to Keeney, who's on this close side. Going to boot it forwards to Fernandez. Fernandez in open space. Tried to give it a through ball off to the captain and Allen. And we're going to see a theme of that. A lot of slips this evening. It's going to be wet and wild out there. Almost like a slip and slide between these two sides. But you know what they say. If you want an exciting game of football, just add a bit of water. The ball will be kicked out of play. 6:17 local time here in Melbourne. The weather currently right now, 18 degrees. With about 3 millimeters of rain. Luckily, all the fans on the far side are under shelter. We're under shelter. I wouldn't like to be out there on the pitch. But these women are the centre of attention for tonight. It's a doubleheader here as well for Genesis Steel Stadium here. It's the women's first up, and then later on, kick-off at 8:30 between the men's. Preston Lions taking on St Albans Saints. That one will be a clash where both sides will want to look to have a win, especially Preston in front of their home fans. We saw what happened about a month ago when it was South Melbourne who came visiting here against Preston. Already we might have something happening here as a massive shot was taken from well outside by Amendolia. Ball just going to work back slowly. Here's Fernandez in pursuit with Yamada, but it will be out of play. Yamada to throw it in on this close side. Percy with the header forward. And he'll just push all the way back Bridges to Leakopoulos. Going to kick it out into clear space. On that far side, Allen in pursuit. going to kick it back off to Lefebvre. They're just slowly marching forwards here. Allen. She's got a great ball from Keppens. Keppens pushing up. Here's Allen still off to Fernandez. Just on the cusp of the box. Back off to Keppens it was, but it was offside. Should make mention as well, the referee for tonight's clash is Jackson Trundle. So it should be an exciting bout here between these two sides. Again, the sixth meeting between these two sides. Preston have gone on a 4-game winning streak against Bentley. Bentley having their only win against Preston back in their very first encounter they had back in May of 2023. That game ended up in a 1-0 scoreline for Bentley. And ever since then, the very last encounter is one that Bentley will definitely want to forget about. It was a 7-1 thumping for the Preston Lions. So I'm sure that this time round, Bentley will want to make amends of things. Allen going to rip a shot and go straight into the hands of the goalkeeper and Maggie Byrne. Talevski. Clear it onto the far side. Caponecchia only just lost that ball ever so slightly. Here's Allen. Going to kick it forwards to Fernandez. Just playing a bit of tippy-tapper with it. Allen's the captain for the Bentley Greens outfit. The rain is definitely falling here. Not sure if you can hear it, but the roof up here, it's rustling with all the rain. We've got a free kick here early on for Bentley. And Sydney Allen will take this one. So Allen's hand goes up. Going to kick it up. It was a kick and a header by Bridges, but she couldn't quite make it count. And ball goes straight into the hands of Maggie Byrne. Bit of a slip-up kick there from Harrington. Allen. She's going to get a lot of the ball usage inside that midfield, pressing. Last week she played that striker position against Spring Hills. This time round she looks to have rotated, playing more in a midfield role. Narita tries to cross it in to a charging forwards Valentina Percy, but the ball was very low and wasn't able to get quite the height that she wanted to try and cross the ball in. And we've got our first corner of the evening coming up here. It'll be Preston Lions ball. So both hands are up for the corner. Ball's going to be kicked up. Percy rose up. Couldn't quite make amends of it. And the ball will be booted away. Checkers. Manages to get out there and take it. Harrington to give it a boot. It's cleared away, however, by the Bentley defence. Amendolia. Amelia Keppens is going to be one to watch out for as well. Number 9 wearing in green. Playing in the midfield position so far. She's had a couple touches of the football thus far, so she'll be one to watch out for. Yamada, forwards to Percy. Going to rotate back, kicks it back forwards to Percy. Percy's charging. However, she won't manage to get the kickoff in time. Bridges putting her body on the line and manages to boot it out of harm's way. If you are going to come to the game later on, just remember to bring your poncho if you're not going to be undercover. It is a wet one out here. Henderson tried to boot it forwards, but couldn't. And speaking of Keppen, she was right there on that play, but she couldn't quite manage to get there in time. Monty White was there. Couldn't quite manage to get the possession on it. Lefebvre going to kick it forwards. Tried to go, I believe it was to Keppens, but instead she couldn't quite manage to find her. Here's Lefebvre again. Kick forwards intended to Caponecchia. Here comes Bentley though in transition. Allen going to chip it forwards. Again, tried to go to Keppens. As I mentioned, Keppens, she's going to be the target on a lot of these. And she's being targeted heavily right now. Caponecchia kicks it back to Talevski. She's going to kick it forwards. Percy's in pursuit. But it'll be Bridges just to kick it back out. Bentley, so far this season, they've conceded 6 goals. Preston also have conceded 6 goals. Which one of these two sides is going to concede more goals here tonight? So we have a chip over the head to Caponecchia. Here she is. She's still got it. Bit of a hip and shoulder there between Regan Bridges and herself. Referee won't call it. And here's a chance now for Bentley. Keeney went down. Referee Jackson Ralph Trundle won't call it. And it's cleared out onto that far side. Monty White to give it a boot. And that'll just be mistimed. So far, a couple contests between both sides. And Jackson Trundle, our referee, just electing not to call anything. Taylor Murphy to kick it in. Here's Bridges. Bridges, who played a alright game last week. Did well in a centre-back position, as she has throughout the season for Bentley. She'll be one to watch out for. Her connection with Anna Leakopoulos. Them two link up really well in the back line. So let's see how Preston can do to try and break that down. Going to need to rely on the through balls that they have. Here's Leakopoulos now. Referee won't call it. Keppens. She hasn't got anyone there, and that one will be booted away in the nick of time. It was Harrington who managed to kick that one just out of play. And we got Bentley's first corner coming up here. So Sydney Allen, both hands are up. Ball's up inside the box. Couldn't quite get a kick off it. Ball's still alive though. Allen, again. Here she is, going to cross it in. Ball's working its way around. It was Fernandez who gave it a kick. And that one will be out of play again. Both sides eager for a goal here early on. Yamada, who played in the midfield last week against their 2-0 loss to Burundara. This time she's pushed back up and she's playing in that back line, in the left back position. Harrington as well. She was playing in the right back position. Now she's playing on the left centre back position. So a bit of a lineup change for Preston from last week. Clearly they weren't happy with the way that they played. Ball headed away. Still Preston's ball, however. Yamada to throw it in. Percy. She's in the box. She's just going to retreat back. Be booted away by Keeney again, and Preston's ball still on that same side. At the moment, Bentley doing a good job at just shutting down that middle corridor area of the pitch, making Preston try and cross the ball in. Narita. Here's Kapanechia. Kapanechia again. Yamada. Going to cross it in this time. Is it a good enough cross in? Valentina Percy was in there, but she had the tightest of all angles to work with, and instead couldn't make that one happen. Valentine Percy. She's actually born in England. Joined the club at the beginning of the season. Played for the IU in the Jags from 2017 to 2020, where she played 71 games, and out of those 71, managed to kick 27 goals in her time there. One to watch out for. Also ended up playing professional football in England for Brighton and Hove Albion. So she'll be one to watch out for. Keep an eye out for her, Valentine Percy. Harrington just kicks it out of play. This time, Bentley Greens' turn to attack. Torrey, missed time kick, and that one will be out of play. And goalkeeper's ball for Preston. So far, both sides just playing a chess match at the moment. Which team will be the first to blink? Looks to be that type of game here tonight. Very defensive between both sides. Both teams struggling to get out and break away with their offense. Harrington. Amendolia. Checkers. Harrington. Just working forwards a little bit here slowly at Preston. Chipping away. Trying to walk up the pitch they are. And a kick directly in the middle of the pitch. Couldn't manage to find anyone at home for that one. I believe they tried to kick it to Summer Kopanechia. She was at the wrong place at the wrong time for that one. Murphy to give it a boot. Amendolia is under it. Talevski working it way back to Checkers. Checkers going to turn around, kick it onto this near side. Narita. Here's Yamada charging forward. She had Keppens for company, but it'll be right in the dugouts. Narita was the intended player. Ball's still alive. Checkers. Here's Harrington. Eva Harrington. She re-signed for the club at the beginning of the season. She played all 22 games last season for Preston. She's yet to score a goal though. And the Preston line's out for how would she love to get one, especially here in front of their home crowd for the first one of their season. 6 games in, and this time it's their first one. Ball just being kicked around. Checkers. Harrington sells the candy well on Keppens, who's at the moment trying for every ball, trying to keep it alive. Torrey to throw it in. Both sides struggling to break out, as I mentioned before. Both teams running a very well defensive structured tactic right now. Here's Percy. Narita. Could this be a chance? No, it isn't. Yamada Keppens. Got a boot on it. So far, as I mentioned earlier, Keppens, she's running and chasing after every ball whenever the ball is in the back line. And another mistimed kick there. It was by Talevsky that time. Amendolia. Malt White. She's been quiet. Again, might make sense as to why she's been quiet by the defensive antics from both sides. Either side not giving in. Couple of the games that are happening this weekend. And tonight, Box Hill United take on South Melbourne. The kickoff will be at 7:30 p.m, so about an hour's time. And Spring Hills take on FV Academy. That kickoff will be at 8:30. Right when the doubleheader will be here at Jenna Steele Stadium between Preston Lions and St Albans. A lot of football. And then tomorrow, looking ahead, Essendon Royals, they take on Alamein United. Brunswick Juventus, they take on Heidelberg United. And the Bulleen Lions, they take on the Boroondara Carry Eagles. So a lot of football. This is the opening game of round 6. Here's Amendolia. Tried to go off to Malt White. Here's Percy with a kick. And there's the first one. Valentine Percy makes it count. Her 4th goal this season. And it comes at a time of need. Preston are the first to blink, and they get the first in this one. I spoke about her being a threat. Born in England, as I said, she played 4 seasons part of NCAA. The IU Indy Jags, played 71 games there, 27 goals she scored there. And she shows her experience. And she bangs in a beautiful goal, capitalizes. And just like that, a 1-0 lead for Preston. And it was probably their first clear opportunity that they had. And they make a count. How can Bentley respond now? The way it's looking pretty close to the signs that they had last time out when they played. And the last 4 outings that they played when Preston won all 4 of those. And you can see already the pressure and energy that they're putting into this game. You could see the energy that they started pushing up, trying to pressure Bentley Greens into a mistake. And here come Preston again, possibly. It'll be their ball. Balls tried to get headed towards the back, but couldn't. Talevsky trying to get in pursuit of it. It was Narita who got there in the nick of time to kick it back off to Yamada. Yamada, who's had a lot of action thus far, trying to stop the orchestra of attack that Bentley Greens are sending her way. She's done a good job holding her ground, though. Ball cleared onto that far side. Mont White. Making a start tonight. Didn't make the start last week. Tries to thread it through towards Percy, who was inside, who's trying to seek a second goal. But she won't quite get there in time. It'll be Taylor Murphy to kick it back in play for Bentley. Keppens was in there. Here's Allen, the captain. Harrington, the good stop. Talevsky back off the checkers. Well, the last time the score was 1-0 in favour of Preston was back in August. It was their first win against Bentley. That score ended up being 1-0 in favour of Preston. They managed to get back after Bentley ended up beating them 1-0. And an offside call for Bentley. Well, so far, this is the first wet weather game that we've had all season here for the NPL, both men's and women's competitions. So it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams try and deal with the rain, considering that they haven't had much action in an actual game. Training, probably, knowing Melbourne, definitely would have had some rain in training time. However, it always does change when a game is on the line. Nerves and all, they become a big factor. Ball was kicked into a risky area there. Taylor Murphy was lucky that her kick wasn't intercepted.
Back in, back in. Cover early, then get your rest.
Lefebvre. Great control on the ball to keep it. Keeney trying to keep it alive against Henderson. Here's Bridges. Had Monty White charging up all over her, not giving her any breathing space. Kopanechia. Last time out, these two sides faced off against one another. It was Preston who took 29 shots. Out of those 29, it was 18 that were actually on target. And you could tell, with the 29 shots, eventually some are going to fall into the goal, and on that occasion it was 7. That time, Bentley, they had 9 shots. 4 of those ended up being on target. Only 1 ended up going in the netting. I'm sure they'll want to trace back their steps and try and fix up their efforts from last time out that they played Preston. Storey had a great game last week, might I add. Had a lot of the touches in the football in the midfield. Created a lot of opportunities for Bentley to try and put the ball away in the goal. She'll be one to watch out for in the midfield. Here she is on cue, Storey. Got Narita for company. Narita as well for Preston. Played a really good game last week, putting a lot of pressure up forwards on the defense of Burundara Carry Eagles. She'll be one to watch out for as well. Speaking of Narita, she actually has some experience playing in Japan. She actually participated in the 2024 and 25 AFC Women's Champions League, as it was a close encounter there A close goal scoring opportunity for Percy, but it was signalled offside. Murphy. Taylor Murphy, she joined the club at the beginning of the season from Alamein. Speaking of Alamein, quite a lot of Bentley's squad consists of former Alamein players, so a lot of them would have played with one another back when they were in the red and black outfit. So chemistry definitely wouldn't be a problem. Yamada. She had a solid performance last time out, last week. Could have an opportunity here. Mont White tries to chip it forwards. Narita keeping it alive, going to cross it up forwards. Percy's inside, rose up, couldn't quite manage to get there. Ball just going to be cleared out to Mont White. Mont White to cross it back in inside the box. Ball being chased around everywhere. Amendolia was there. Henderson going to take a shot, and it hits the woodwork. What a close shot, though, from Henderson from well outside the box. And it only just hit the crossbar. But that one would have been something, and it definitely would have gotten the crowd involved. And that would have been a big 2-0 lead for Preston. Here's another corner coming up here for Preston. Both hands are up. Definitely got the numbers inside. Ball is up. Can they get it to go? Ball is just going to be tipped out around the back. Storey tried to clear it out. Keppens. Clear it off to Allen, who's all by herself. Hasn't quite got the numbers. She's going to kick a beautiful kickoff to Isabella Fernandez. She's in open space. Couldn't quite kick the ball off in the nick of time. It was Harrington closing right up on her. I'm sure she would have loved to get that one. That would have been her second goal of the season had she had kicked that one in the goal. Would have tied the game back at one apiece. But instead, it's a goalie kick out. Checkers, who's had some action tonight. He's had a lot of time playing defense, trying to stop Keppens and Fernandez from having any attack. Here's Keppens actually now trying to attack. Sorry, correction, it was Fernandez. Fernandez slips in the box. That would have been one that would have been ugly for Preston, but all glory, though, for Bentleigh Greens. Here's a kick forwards, though, for Percy. And transition ball. Here's Percy going to take a boot from well outside the box. That one's going to go well over the goal and out of play. But it was Fernandez, though, who was pressing right up, not giving Taylor Murphy any breathing space whatsoever. Almost ended up being a mistake for Maggie Byrne in goal. And it almost gave an almost certain goal for Bentley, but instead we're going to stay at a 1-0 scoreline in favour of Preston. Isabella Fernandez, she re-signed at the start of the season as well for Bentley. She's been labelled as a lightning-fast winger. Last season, she played 22 games and scored just the one goal. Monty White, she's got her hands full over there at the moment with Firth. Going to cross it forwards. Amendolia, she's inside. Trying to turn around and kick it was Narita. Amendolia again, never say die attitude. And Taylor Murphy managing to clean it up. A good sequence of play though. Preston have definitely stepped up their attack. Definitely starting to press up more. Not giving any breathing space for the defense of Bentley. Keeney went down on that play, and we're going to have a free kick going Bentley's way here. Regan Bridges to take it. Regan Bridges. She joined the side with the club at the start of the season. Might have been a handball there possibly by Keppens, but it'll be called off. Amelia Keppens, she's the third youngest player in the squad. She also joined at the beginning of the season, coming from Brunswick Juventus. And speaking of Regan Bridges before, there she is coming to take out Narita. Here's Amendolia, Fernandez. Back off to Percy and our referee Jackson Trundle just to blow the whistle now. A 1-0 scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. It was about 10 minutes or so ago, possibly, since the only goal was scored by Valentine Percy. It's probably the only clear shot that Preston had all game, and they made it count. Talevski to take the free kick. Going to chip it up, and it's going to be Bridges there to save the day and header it away. Regan Bridges. She graduated from Florida International University in the States. She captained the squad, played 64 games for the outfit. So Bentley with this ball here. It'll be Torrey to throw it in. Just going to throw it forwards to Allen. Allen, who's got Talevski, not giving her any breathing space. Harassing her all the way up right into the corner position on this near side. It'll be Byrne, the goalkeeper, Preston, to get it back in play. Checkers. Emma Checkers. She was born actually in Adelaide, South Australia. She re-signed with the club at the beginning of the season. She's played in about 5 different countries in her career. Also played in the Women's A-League competition, playing for the likes of Adelaide United, Melbourne Victory, Canberra United and Melbourne City. She's played 150 games in the A-League and scored a total of 5 goals. So definitely a wealth of experience in the back line for Preston Lions. And she's doing a good job thus far, you can tell, with the amount of stoppages that she's gotten, preventing Amelia Keppens from having any looks on goal. Fernandez. Here's Storey, just managing to creep around the back of Yamada. Gonna try and cross it forwards to Keppens. Keppens being directed almost every play at the moment. But Preston, they're reading it well. They're shutting down the middle extremely well. And it was Emma Checkers again, stopping it once again from being a possible goal opportunity. Bridges with Kapaneccia for company. Monty White tried to sneak up behind. Bridges still has this one. Allen. She's got Amendolia for company. Going to give a big boot. Is Allen from well outside the box. Would have been something had it gone in, but it'll be goalkeeper's ball. There is one other game going on currently at the moment. Kickoff was at 5:30. That was in the men's NPL competition between Altona and the Oakley Cannons. Oakley currently lead that game 1-0 in the 65th minute of that one. Here's Allen off to Keppens, but instead it's, I believe it was Checkers who managed to get the kickoff. Ball just being in a bit of a tussle. Here's Fernandez. Henderson went down, but it wasn't called. Jackson Trundle letting a couple plays slide here at the moment. Torrey. It's got Percy just bombarding her at the moment, allowing her any breathing space to try and kick the ball forwards.
And now get higher now.
Lefebvre. Here's Torrey. Tried to give it a through ball, but instead it's going to be Allen to sweep it away. Next time these two teams square off against one another will be in round 17 on Friday the 18th of July. Kickoff will be at 8:15. That'll be at Kingston Heath Soccer Complex. Back to the action actually as here's Allen in open space. Might have something occur here. Is Allen going to go to her left and kicks a beautiful goal. Is Sydney Allen. Her first goal of the season. She signed with a Cub at the beginning of the season from Alamein. Welcome to the Bentley Greens, Sydney Allen. Her first goal in the green outfit. And she manages to tie the game up at 1 apiece here at Jenna Steele Stadium. What a play, and you just had a feeling it was coming at some point with the amount of attacking opportunities that Bentley were going. And finally one falls. The captain captaining the ship, and she puts one in the back of the net. So we're back level pegging now. It was Preston with the lead early on with a goal from Valentine Percy. And it's Sydney Allen able to respond in a big way. It was a beautiful goal as well. Went all the way to her left and just slotted it right in the back of the goal. Here she is on cue as well. Off to Keeney. Stuck with Yamada. Manages to clear her away though. Here could be another opportunity for Bentley. Storey. Couldn't quite get there in time. It was Checkers, I believe. Correction, no, Talevsky who managed to kick that one away and out of harm's danger. Missed time kick. Narita kicked it away and it'll be Bridges now to recover it. Stoysevsky. He's had a quiet game so far. Hasn't had much touches of the football. Forwards to Torrey. Manages to keep it alive with a chip up to herself. Yamada. Henderson. The captain. Back off the Checkers. Former Adelaide United player. Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City player. Montwhite. Just with a heel kick back. Trying to keep it alive on that far side is Amendolia. So free kick going Bentley's way at the moment. Crowd's building slowly in the stands. Still got one more game here. The doubleheader here on Anzac Day. Still to come is the men's clash between St. Albans and the Preston Lions. That should be an interesting encounter. However, that's the main course. This is the entree at the moment. Montwhite. She's got Lefebvre for company. Lefebvre not giving her any breathing space. Here's Amendolia, who was down before. Gave the free kick Bentley's way. Ball be booted again. Yamada. Fernandez. Amendolia. She's got that dog in her at the moment. Not relinquishing any contest. It's Dostevsky to kick it away. What can be made here? Narita's inside, and a missed time kick for her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first half here done and dusted. A very exciting first half, to be exact. Both sides not giving in an inch. It was the first goal that went Preston's way by Valentine Percy. Got a beautiful goal, and then the captain, Sydney Allen, with an answer in the dying stages of that first half. A 1-1 scoreline at the moment. What are both sides going to have to do in that second half to try and walk away with the 3 points? We're going to have to wait and find out. Well, everybody, welcome back to a very, very wet and damp Geneseo Stadium. Second half action about to get underway here for round 6 of the NPL women's season. The opening game taking place between Preston Lions and the Bentleigh Greens. It was a very close first half. Both sides had their attacking opportunities, but it was a very defense-oriented first half. Both sides not really having a lot of opportunities up until maybe the last 17 minutes in the first, where it was Preston Lions, the first team to blink, getting the first one. It was Valentine Percy who got the first goal. And about 5 minutes to go in the second half, well, it was the Bentleigh Greens able to respond. It was Sydney Allen, the captain, who got a beautiful goal, all in open air. Managed to go to her left and just lace the ball in the back of the net with her left foot. That was her first goal, part of the Bentleigh Greens organisation. What does the second half have in store for us? It was a very exciting first half, though. However, both sides trying to retain a lot of the possession. However, the scoreline ended up being 1-1. So let's see what this second half can muster up for us. Glad you could be with us here on Anzac Day. Anzac round. We've got a double header here, so you're going to want to make sure not to go anywhere. We still have one more game here to go at Geneseo Stadium. The men's, both senior sides will kick off, but it won't be Bentleigh Green senior side. It will be the St. Albans Saints taking on the Preston Lions senior men's team in what should be a close encounter. Very exciting game as well, but that's the main event. This is the co-main event. This is the entree. And we've got a very tasty one at that. 1-1 at the moment. What can both of these sides produce? I'm sure half-time would have been useful for both. Talking things out, seeing what works, what doesn't. This player was working on all cylinders, Sydney Allen. Here we got an opportunity here coming. Storey got a belter of a game last week against the Spring Hills. Retained a lot of the possession. However, she's had a bit of a quiet one thus far. Both sides' defense playing well. Not allowing any opportunities going in their way. Both sides actually going into this game. Both these sides have conceded 6 goals each this time now. Because each team has scored 1 goal each, they've both conceded 7 goals within the opening 6 rounds. So going into this game 6, now at the moment they sit 7 apiece. What can they muster up? However, going into this game, it's Preston who have scored 7 goals. Now adding to the one that they scored, it's 8. And Bentley's kick was blocked by Stojcevski. Murphy, though, able to grab the ball. Bentleigh going into this game, they've scored 5 now because they've scored 1 in this one. That'll bring their tally up to 6. 6 goals in 6 rounds. Not bad. But I'm sure they'd love to have a lot more on the tally. We've had a player subbed in to start this second half. Coco Parker is in for the Bentleigh Greens. We might have an opportunity here. And not quite. Maggie Byrne able to get there in time and bring it in her hands. Keeney was the close one. Trying to cross in and try and just sneak the ball behind Maggie Byrne, the goalkeeper of Preston. Harrington. Percy. Forwards. Tried to go to Monty White, but couldn't. Lefebvre. Storey now. Just marching forward slowly. Going to keep the possession. Parker back off to Allen. Allen, she could have gone to Parker. This time it's Parker. She's inside the box. Allen just kicks it. Ball goes in the back of the net, but it'll be Jackson Trundle to signal and blow the whistle for it being offside. So, close one there. I think Alan, she had an opportunity probably to go to Coco Parker a little bit earlier. Instead, she decided to make one extra kick off to Keeney, but instead elected not to go to Parker. Percy. She joined the club at the beginning of the season. She has experience playing in the Japanese leagues and the Malaysia's leagues as well. Played in the AFC Women's Champions League, but she's making her name right here, right now, felt in the women's NPL competition. And right now, things just look a little bit too blindsided for Bentley. It's all about Preston now. So ball just being tossed out of play at the moment. Lefebvre to throw it in. Amendolia. She's going to go on a run here at the moment. Just stops, tried to chip it off and kick it to a leading Narita who just got the go momentarily. Here's Sydney Allen though. What can she muster up now? She's got 2 on the board for Bentley. She's going to give it another boot from well beyond range and go straight into the hands of Maggie Byrne. Boy, would she have loved another one. Got an absolute screamer before, managed to bounce off the crossbar and just bounce back in behind Maggie Byrne. She's got their only 2 of the evening, Sydney Allen. Signed with the club at the start of the season. Former Alamein player. She finished the 3rd top scorer in season 2023. She ended up having 13 goals that season. And you can definitely see why with shots that she's taking and finishing them beautifully tonight. Well, it's definitely not hard to dispute that. Could we have another opportunity happening here for Preston? Amendolia tried to kick it off to a leading Vlamink. Couldn't quite connect with the kick. Vlamink, she's played in 5 games. This one is her 6th. She's also had 1 goal as well in this season for Preston. Storey. She had Amendolia all over her. Leakopoulos. She had 2 goals last week. Scoring their only 2 goals actually in that 2-2 draw against Spring Hills. Sochevsky kicks it forwards. Keeney. Ball just being lost between the players. Didn't know where the ball was. Storey's charging forwards. She gives Maggie Byrne a big shoulder. And Maggie Byrne looks to be all right. That is a big one in correction. That was actually Coco Parker that came out of nowhere and gave her the massive, massive shoulder. We've got another substitution coming in. Georgia Candelas. She's number 7. So Georgia Candelas, watch out for her. A couple fresh legs coming in. What can she provide for the Bentley Greens outfit? Lefebvre to throw it in. Storey. Here's Allen, just lost it momentarily. And now here comes Preston in transition. And that one will be stopped. Got another substitution also checking in here for the Preston Lions. Molly May Ramsey just warming up here on the sideline directly in front of us. She also made the start last week. Was benched in this matchup. Amendolia. Here's Allen though, walks away the successor in that little bout. It was a nice through ball, tried to kick it off to Lefebvre. It was Harrington who was in her way, who couldn't quite manage to kick the ball off in time to Lefebvre. And we've got substitution checking in now. Molly May Ramsey is coming in. Eri Narita is coming out. That's going to be her day done and dusted. She kicked the very latest goal for Preston, giving Preston, actually, I should say, a 4-2 lead. It's been Valentine Percy, though, tonight. Let's not discount her scoring a hat-trick. What a showing from her. If you're Preston, you'll be loving her performance today. Here's Allen, who's a threat, especially from beyond range after the goal we saw. Close encounter there inside the box. Storey under the Amendolia now to clear it away. Still trying to chase after it and keep it alive. Preston still have it alive, actually, somehow. Here's Percy. Nice delivery it was from Henderson. Henderson going to try and cross it in to Vatke, and not quite. She had the patter all over her, was Henderson, the captain of the Preston Lions. And ladies and gentlemen, would you believe it if I told you the rain's falling again? It did stop for about 10-ish minutes and it's back raining again. So I guess the weather gods, they want to have an interesting matchup happen for the senior men's Preston Lions side. And they take on the St. Albans Saints at 8:30 p.m. tonight. The grandstand and the backdrop just slowly filling up. Quite a few people I can see waiting at the gate to get in. Should be a close encounter, that men's game. Murphy. Oh, almost lost the ball to Vlamink. Here's Amendolia. Henderson. DePetta there, trying to keep it alive for the Greens. Vatke, turn around, try to cross it forwards to Percy, who's been on fire tonight. Keeney. Here's Allen, who's their only goal scorer tonight, Bentley. And the ball just going to go into the back for Checkers. Kane Dealis over there for the Greens. Just trying to put some pressure up on the back line of Preston. Talevski. Here's Checkers again. And that kick was given up. And another give up there by Storey. They did so well, Bentley did, to try and cause a fumble in the play of Preston. And just like that, they give it back up. And Bentley end up giving it back up away. Here could be an opportunity now. Parker, she's doing the whole length now. Tries to cross it in. The ball's inside the box. Couldn't quite get there. Storey going to give it a boot. And it just goes across the face of the goal. And that one won't count. And another substitution checking into this game. Renee Sofronides getting ready to come in. Caitlin Storey, that'll be her day done and dusted. She had a great showing last week against the Spring Hills. What was a 2-2 draw. This time it's her day done and dusted. And Renee Sofronides, it's her turn to now take a turn inside the engine room. can see in the background the massive Preston banner being hung up. Ready for the senior men's. We'll be kicking off at 8:30. And I want to make sure to tune in for that one. That'll be a very spicy game. Preston Lions versus St. Albans Saints. But back to the action, back to the women's actually. Here's Allen inside the box. Back off to Lefebvre. He's going to give it a boot. Ball's just curling in and it goes on the roof of the net. And that one won't count, but a couple shots here. A little bit of urgency happening here for the Bentley Greens. Sort of just trying to kick anything and praying for the best. Here's the Peta off to Candelas. Sofronides. Ball works its way back off to Leakopoulos. Fun little fact actually is that all of Bentley's goals that they scored within the past 3 rounds, they were actually scored in the back line for Bentley. It was Bridges who scored a goal in that round 3 encounter that they had a couple of weeks ago against Brunswick. And then last week, it was Anna Leakopoulos who scored 2 goals on the trot. And a ball only gone off the crossbar, and a very, very close one there for Bentley. And finally, Jackson Trundle is going to blow the whistle. Oh, we're just going to slow down here. Preston's medic is going to head on out there. But that was a very, very close shot, though, for Bentley. Almost going in, hitting the woodwork, hitting the crossbar. And it can't get any closer for them at the moment. They can't catch a break. Things stay the way that things stand. Bentley will remain 10th on the table, depending on how all the other teams play and how all the other matches unfold. Bentley has never finished higher than 6th on the table. The last time they finished 6th was back in 2018. Preston, though, last season finished 2nd on the table. They were the 2022 Premier League champions in the 2nd tier and achieved promotion to the NPL. Well, they went on to finish 6th on the table in their first season of competition. That was in 2023. And then last season had a phenomenal season, finishing 2nd. I'm sure they'd want to repeat it this year. And Amendolia is up. She was the one who was down. And she looks to be up and well, hopefully. And a couple more substitutions getting ready to check in here for Preston. It'll be Lani Gudais getting ready to check in here for Preston. And along too with Chanel Nikolovsky, who's number 11, waiting to check into this game. Nikolovsky just waiting. And she'll be coming on for Valentine Percy, who had a hat-trick in this game. A very, very commendable effort here this evening. A phenomenal display from her. As we slowly close in to 10 minutes to go here in this ball game. It's been Preston Lions all night long, just having the answer for everything Bentley have thrown at them. Parker tries to cross it in. Ball was mistimed. Try to go to Keeney. Here's Bridges. Allen going to have another boot from well outside, and only just keeping it from outside the ball. What a save from Maggie Byrne. And Maggie Byrne managing to make the save just in the nick of time there. Here's Bridges. Nikolevsky. Lefebvre. Allen. They're going to clear it off to Keeney. She's got all the space in the world here on this near side. Going to cross in. Almost lost it. De Peta off to Lefebvre. Back off to De Peta. He's inside center of the pitch. Tried to clear it away. That one was picked off by Vatke. And that time Jackson Trundle blows the whistle. That was Nikolovsky all over that ball. So Kai Allen, sorry, my apologies, Sydney Allen to take the free kick. And it goes straight into the hands of Maggie Byrne. Well, the last time these two teams faced off, Bentley had 9 shots, 4 of which were actually on target. 1 ended up going in the back of the net. Preston, though, they had 29 shots. 18 of those were on target, and 7 of which ended up going in the netting. That was back in round 17 last year. This time, though, is round 6. Lefebvre tries to cross it in. Tried to go to Candalis. Candalis was holding on for dear life on the defense. Nikolovsky couldn't quite manage to take the possession. Allen again. De Peta. Yamada managing to clear it away. Vatke. Here's Vatke again. Tried to kick it charging forwards to Henderson, but instead that one was quickly picked off. And another cross in was no good.
Get up! Get up! Tight, tight!
Ball be booted away by Maggie Byrne. Candalis. Tolios, who was playing in the midfield last week. This time she's playing subbed on into that right back position. Vatke. Candalis. Back off again to Tolios. Bridges. Sofronides. Or just being tipped around at the moment. Doesn't really look to be too much urgency for the Bentley Greens. Just trying to run out the clock right now. Trying to cross it in. Couldn't quite manage to connect on it well enough. And it will be out of play. Lefebvre to throw it in. Lefebvre, good sell of the candy there in Vlamic. And it'll be out of play. Ramsey was there, but she couldn't quite manage to keep it alive for the Lions. Kicked away again. Ball just being lobbed backwards and forwards on both ends of the pitch right now. Murphy. Ball just going backwards and forwards at the moment. Nikolovsky was there, but she didn't bother chasing after it. It's been all Preston so far tonight. It was a very even first half between both sides, a very defensive-minded first half. Neither one of the teams could really create an opening. First goal was kicked by Percy, who kicked the actual proper first opportunity that Preston had. Put them up 1-0. Then it was Sydney Allen who kicked her first goal for the Bentley Greens outfit. A good way to respond and tie the game up 1-1. And, well, coming out from half-time, it was Valentine Percy who absolutely lit it up. Sent the entire Genesis Steel Stadium on their feet, banging in 2 beautiful goals. How about Sydney Allen, though, with that massive belter from well outside the box, managing to hit the woodwork and just sneak in past Maggie Byrne. And then the final goal that actually occurred, the most recent one, occurred by Eri Narita, getting her first goal for the Preston Lions outfit, and the most recent giving them the 4 goals that they have at the moment. Sydney Allen, the only goal scorer. She's having a drink right now at the moment. Well deserved so. After putting the Bentley Greens on her back tonight. She is the captain as well. She came into this game actually goalless. And she delivers with 2 goals here this evening. So Vatke is just going to go out onto that far side and just take a bit of a breather. She went down on that play. That's why there was a bit of a halt in play. Preston Lions, though, to throw it in and bring the ball back in play. Still got one more game to go, ladies and gentlemen. The senior men's Preston Lions side will take on the St. Albans Saints. Kickoff will be at 8:30. That's the main event. This is the co-main event right now, and it looks to be very one-sided. Preston, they've had Bentley's number, just like they have on the past 4 meetings that they've had, where it was Preston who walked away the victors, winning 4 of the past 5. This is their 6th meeting between these two sides. Bentleigh only had just the 1 win. That was their very first meeting. That scoreline ended up being 1-0, and ever since then they've struggled against Preston. And the way that it looks, they're going to be on a 5-game losing streak against Preston. Just struggling against the pressure that Preston have. Leakopoulos. He was the only goal scorer last week, or sorry, last time out, for Bentleigh against the Spring Hills. Ended up being a 2-2 draw. Parker off to Lefebvre, who's had majority of the ball so far in this second half. Here she is again. We spoke about rain being a factor since none of these sides really have played in the rain. Had an actual official match in the rain. It was a virtual slip and slide out there in the first half, but I think it was Preston who was able to settle in a little bit quicker than Bentley was. Vlamink to cross it in to nobody. It'll be interesting to see how the senior men's go as well. 5 minutes of added time left to go in this one before the completion of play. The grandstand Just filling up more and more as the evening's progressed. Here's Allen. Tried to go to DePetta. Keeney back off again now to DePetta. Back off again to Allen. She's going to give it another boots. She did early in the night. Couldn't quite manage to get there. Candelas though. There she is. Makes her moment count. Her debut game. She was subbed in and she gets her first goal in NPL women's competition. Georgia Candelas gives Bentley 3 on the board and makes it a 1-goal game. Bentley are the experts in additional time. They were last time out against Spring Hills, managing to make that contest end in a draw. Could we possibly have the same thing happen here tonight? Going to have to wait and see. Not too long to go until this game is completed, but it'll be Preston's ball though. Just halting the momentum there that the Bentley Greens got. But what a goal there though from Georgia Candelas. Missed the first one. Ball went straight off and managed to kick the next one in the netting. And a great goal for her. Her debut in the NPL women's season, and she manages to make it count. Was subbed in and she delivers a goal on the scoreboard. And she'll love that one. And the rain is coming down a lot harder than it was all evening. The weather gods definitely want an interesting game to kick off later on at 8:30 for the senior men's. The Coppolas tried to give it a boot away, but couldn't quite manage to do so. And it's Murphy with the goal kick. Bentley's energy looks to have picked up a little bit in the dying stage of this game. Do they think a draw could be on the horizon possibly? Here's Lefebvre. Trying to keep it alive. Ball's kicked away though, out of harm's way. And Preston just send the ball all the way back to Murphy in goal for the Greens. Here's Leokopoulos. She's going to give it a boot forwards. Vlamic to kick it away. And Bentley still have possession here. Jackson Trundle just looks at his watch. And the ball kicked out of play again. Bentley throwing everything at the moment at Preston. They'd love to walk away with at least a point like they did last time against the Spring Hills. Ball's kicked up that time. And not quite. It will be saved by Maggie Byrne.
Everybody out!
Henderson to clear it away. Cool, we have one last roll of the dice here. Sydney Allen. And we have a player down actually here for the Bentley Greens. It's Delaney Keeney down. Allen to take the free kick. She had a goal from distance earlier on tonight, scored the second one. And the first as well. But the second one was a little bit more impressive than the first. Hand is up. One last roll of the dice for Bentley. Ball's up. To be headed away by Preston though. Coco Parker. And that'll be it. Preston, just like the 4 previous occasions that they had, are going to walk away with the 3 points. A 5-game winning streak since 2023. And a 4-3 victory over the Bentley Greens at home. Their first home game all season. They've been on a 5-game road trip. And their first home game will result in a win in front of home fans. In front of all the loyal fans as well. But tonight is all about Valentine Percy though. A hat trick for her and an unbelievable performance to say the least. The former Brighton and Hove Albion player does a phenomenal job out here tonight. But as well, I mean, the highlight of the night, it has to be Sydney Allen's goal. Absolutely laced it from well outside the box. An unbelievable goal. Definitely, in my opinion, will be the goal of the round. I'm calling it early on. But that'll do it for the women's game here. The Preston Lions get the win 4-3 against the Bentley Greens in a very, very impressive display. And still to come, ladies and gentlemen, at kickoff at 8:30 will be the senior men's Preston Lions team as they take on the St. Albans Saints in the main event here. One more game still to come here at Jenna Steele Stadium. From myself, though, Stefan Georgic, thank you for tuning in. It was a very wet and damp Jenna Steele Stadium, but from myself, it is so long. Until next time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Geneseo Stadium at BT Connor Reserve for tonight's men's and women's NPL doubleheader. And we've just witnessed a highly entertaining game between the Preston Lions women's team and the Bentley Greens in the NPLW, with Preston emerging 4-3 winners. And up next,